to keep things quiet.
How do we do that?
How do you do that? Well, honestly, it's one-on-one. You know, the only way you can break down a psychological block is with two people as peers, trusting each other and talking through in a relaxed tone. And that means it's not adversarial. It has to be as a friend. We don't have to agree. We don't have to disagree, but we have to respect and value each other's opinions.
So we have 10 more years of coming to this convention. So next year we get 300 votes. Maybe we get 500 the next year, maybe 700 the next year. You think that's how it's going to go?
No, I think any change is logarithmic. So you're going to end up with no matter which way it goes, it's going to spike very fast in one way or the other.
When? Let's ask Ted Walter, who is our Director of Strategic Objectives. What was your reaction to the vote?
Well, I mean, I guess I agree with everything that Damon was saying. Was that it's clear that a majority of the people in that room were voting not based on a rational examination of what happened to Building 7, but on how they feel and what they want to believe about what happened on September 11th. And I think those of us involved in trying to further this issue know that when it comes down to it, you know, science is obviously at the heart of you know what we're dealing with intellectually, but the real challenge that we have to overcome is a psychological one, and I think it showed. I think it showed in the room, especially in the fact that there were people speaking against us who were really wrong on some of the key facts. It really shows that the opposition to reinvestigating the collapse of Building 7 is based, you know, is largely based on misinformation, because you know, I think the vast majority of people that are opposed to it just haven't looked at it closely, and then they have these fancy sounding reports from you know, federal agencies that they can latch onto to sort of, you know, protect themselves and say, look, this has been investigated, and if they looked deeper into it, into what those reports are really saying, you know, they would find that those reports are giving us really implausible scenarios to explain the collapse of Building 7, as well as the Twin Towers.
Excellent. And Richard Wallace, you are one of the delegates, 300 delegates here. You tried to make some points on behalf of the resolution. What points were you trying to make?
Well, enough's been said about the building and the technicalities and the engineering of it. I was trying to appeal to the emotional side of these people, to their integrity, to the things that have brought them to the profession of architecture. Integrity being very important. I addressed the responsibilities that architects have. Social responsibility, legal responsibilities, moral responsibilities, and responsibilities to our environment, which we are constantly manipulating, to changing, to suit our needs. And I also pointed out that when you join the AIA, well, before that, architects have responsibilities. You have all those responsibilities, and when you join the AIA, you volunteer to take on a new responsibility, and that's the responsibility to be ethically responsible for what you do and say. And that's what you volunteer for when you join the AIA. And at that point, they cut me off, and I wanted to go on to say that their theme here was impact. And today, they had an opportunity to have an impact on society by voting for this resolution, yes. But I got cut off there.
Yeah, I think I heard you just say is that impact is not just going with the flow and being a gray, you know, custard amongst gray custard. Impact is being thought leaders and being evangelists for the cause of whatever architects choose to be for. And I'm not here to preach what architects should be for or against, but I want to see, taking true stands one way or another, as opposed to just, well, let's not talk about this, let's not think about it, let's move on type of thing. Take a stand, even if it's against, even if
it seems like they did actually. Now we have our sponsor resolution, Dan Barnum, FAIA, who gave the lead in and the outgo messages. Dan, how do you feel about what you were able to give people and how they were able to receive it?
Well, I thought that what we said was well put, and I thought we explained ourselves as well as we could given the very limited amount of time available. I was personally disappointed in the overwhelming numbers that were against our resolution. I thought we would do a little bit better than that, but I think we also got people to thinking, and if we can keep this message going and keep the pressure there one way or the other, that people will continue to think and continue to get, and at some point, like Damien said, we'll have a logarithmic change, and at some point somebody's going to come up and say, wait a minute guys, we got this wrong all along, let's relook at it and rethink it and listen to what Richard Gage has been saying for all these years and go on.
Thank you.
But you said something else in your speech. You told the congregation there that if they vote no, it's a political vote.
Yes.
You said that to them.
I did.
Yeah.
Why did you say that, Dan?
Well, because it is political.
It is.
It's they're denying. It was interesting to me that one of the previous speakers in another resolution said we are a professional organization. We are not political. But in this situation, we are making a political statement. If we were looking at this as a professional, from a professional viewpoint, we could not deny that something is wrong and that we have to relook at it and that we have to think through it differently. But it's clearly being looked at politically. They don't want to get on somebody's dark side, and that's what they're afraid of. And so that's a political thing, and it's not a professional. A true professional will go against the flow if it's necessary for integrity, as Richard was talking about, integrity. And we have to do that. We have to be willing to do that. We've had any architect that's designing a building will have a customer that says, no, I want to do it this way. And you can say, okay, we'll do it this way, but you're not going to like it, or it's not going to work for you, and that kind of stuff. And at some point you say, okay, you're the boss, you're paying the bills, and you do it the way you want to. But it's not going to work. And that's being professional. That's not being political.
Excellent. Thanks, Dan.
That's what happened in Chicago on the Standard Oil building. Penny Prisker, the Hyatt family, that was her pet project. She wanted to make the building lighter so they could have less structure and spend less money. And on the outside of the building, marble was supposed to be 2 1/4 thick. She cut it to 1.5 inches to save the weight. And I was with Perkins and Will. We told her, no, don't do it. But she had other advisors. She did it. And it cost, when they built the building, it cost $81 million. When they replaced the marble, it cost them $160 million.
Wow. Yeah.
Because that marble was just buckling and falling off. Heat.
Yes.
Buckle.
I remember.
Yeah.